The girl's bare feet slapped cold stone as she ran. The ravine yawned black 200 feet below, pale rock humming beneath her like a held breath. She didn't stop, didn't look down, while 30 grown people stood frozen at the cliff's edge, unable to step forward. She reached the other side and turned back, her voice carrying over the gorge, "It's easy. Why won't you come?" No one answered. They stood there, unable to move, and the bridge waited, humming, for something only they could give. The Ver Gorge split the mountains like an old wound, cut deep by a river that had been rushing since before anyone could remember. The village of Alden clung to its western edge, 43 houses, a stone church, a school with one room, and one bridge no one remembered building. It stretched across the gap in a single pale arch, narrow and ancient, moss growing in its cracks like veins of green. At its center, words were carved into the rock in a language no scholar knew, but every child understood, "Only the honest may cross." For 100 years, this had been a story people told at supper, a curiosity, nothing more. No one had ever really tested it, because no one had ever needed to. Until Marin. Marin kept the town's grain stores. Folks trusted her because she never raised her voice and always had an answer ready, calm and certain as sunrise. What no one in Alden knew was that 10 years ago, she had redrawn the boundary lines of Hetty Farron's land. She filed the new map at the county office herself, and old Hetty, too confused and tired to fight, lost the farm her father built with his own hands. Marin told herself she needed the extra acreage to feed her children. She told herself this so many times that she almost believed it, the way you can almost believe your own handwriting when you've written the lie carefully enough. But now the rain was coming, and the river was rising, and Marin could feel something she had buried for 10 years beginning to shift. When the rain began on the 3rd day of autumn, no one worried. By the 5th day, the river had swallowed the lower fields whole, brown water churning over fences and through gardens. By the 7th morning, the water was still rising, and the only road out led across that pale bridge. Sven the carpenter stepped out first, sure-footed and steady, and the stone groaned beneath him, shifted, dropped an inch. He scrambled back to solid ground, white-faced and shaking. Then a merchant tried, heavy boots careful on the rock. Then the schoolteacher, then the mayor, who had won his office on a promise he never kept. Each time, the bridge trembled beneath them. Each time, the person stumbled back to safety, breath coming fast. Someone shouted to burn the bridge and build a raft. Someone else said to pray. The arguments rose like the flood itself, loud, desperate, useless. Then little Renner, 8 years old, who had been sitting on a rock watching the grown people argue, stood up and simply ran. The bridge held her like a mother holds a child. She crossed without hesitation, her laughter bright against the roar of water below. When she shouted back, "It's easy," her voice, bewildered, shining, innocent, shamed every adult on that cliff into silence. Marin looked at the water. She looked at her hands, the same hands that had redrawn that map, that had signed a false name, that had held the pen steady while an old woman lost everything. She walked to the bridge's edge and spoke, not to the town, but to the stone beneath her feet. "I took Hetty Farron's land. I knew what I was doing, and I told myself I needed it, but I wanted it." The humming stopped. The bridge went still, and then, slowly, like something exhaling after a long, long wait, it steadied. Marin took one step. Then another. The stone held firm beneath her, solid as the ground she'd been standing on all along. One by one, they came. The merchant confessed he had cheated his scales for years, taking silver that wasn't his. The schoolteacher admitted his credentials were forged. The mayor spoke of the promise he broke to his dying brother, and his voice cracked on the word dying like a branch under snow. Each truth spoken aloud steadied the bridge a little more. The stone grew so still and sure it might have been an extension of the mountain itself. What they discovered that day was not that honesty makes you safe. It is that carrying a secret is a kind of weight, and the bridge could feel it pressing down. Every person who has ever stood frozen, unable to move forward, knows this. The thing you are hiding is the very thing holding you in place. By nightfall, the flood had taken the lower road, but Alden had crossed, all of them, to higher ground. Behind them, the bridge stood steady in the rushing dark, its pale arch humming softly. Not like a warning anymore, but like something breathing out, something finally at rest. As if it had been waiting all these years for the weight no one would name to be set gently down.